Most seniors do not notice it at first. The strength in their legs fades slowly, silently. Getting out of a chair becomes harder. Walking feels less stable. And one day, without warning, the legs stop responding with confidence. This decline does not always come from age. More often, it comes from the way we move. Or rather, the way we stop moving. Every year, millions of older adults are told to just stay active. Walk more. Try light stretches. Maybe lift some weights in a chair. But what if that advice is not enough? What if the real solution has nothing to do with movement and everything to do with stillness? There is one practice most seniors have never been told about. A quiet, simple stance. No noise, no equipment, no steps to count. It is called the horse stance. And for those who practice it daily, the results are hard to ignore. In one clinical study published in the Journal of Geriatric Physical Therapy, older adults who held this pose just a few minutes a day saw stronger legs, better circulation, and fewer falls. Without machines, without pain, just gravity and time. In this video, we will reveal 5 hidden ways this one habit could restore strength, balance, and control right from home. And when we reach number 2, you will hear the most surprising benefit of all. It affects something 95% of seniors damage daily without even realizing it. Before we begin, comment your age and country. And tell us, have your legs ever let you down, even once? We read every word. Number 6. The silent fall prevention method. At first it looks like nothing. A person standing still, doing nothing at all. But do not be fooled. Because this quiet posture, when held the right way, could be the single most powerful habit to prevent falls. It is called Zhanzhuang. Translated, it means standing like a tree. No motion, no stepping, just holding the body in deep stillness. In Chinese parks, just after sunrise, elders gather barefoot on the grass. They do not walk, they do not talk, they simply stand. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, arms relaxed, and most importantly, they sink into their heels, not gripping the ground. Not hovering above it, but slowly rooting down like they are standing in wet earth. Imagine your feet growing roots, not metaphorically, but neurologically, because the moment you hold this pose, something strange begins to happen. Tiny muscles around the ankles and hips start to fire. These are the stabilizer muscles, the ones that keep you from tipping over during daily life. Most people never activate them, because chairs and shoes do the work for us. But here in this pose, those forgotten systems begin to wake up again. In a 2022 study from Shanghai University, seniors who practiced this static standing method showed 42% fewer falls over a 1-year period. That is almost half. No treadmill, no loud trainers, just stillness. Stillness that whispers to the body, balance is your birthright, you have just stopped listening to it. Doctors rarely prescribe this. There is no billable code for standing in a quiet park. But in cultures where movement is still connected to nature, this is a daily ritual. It may look passive, but inside the body it is training deep awareness. The kind of awareness that lets you catch yourself before a fall, shift weight before a misstep, or simply feel the earth again. Start with 30 seconds. Stand barefoot if you can. Let your knees soften, and picture your bones growing downward and your mind growing still. This is not a workout. It is a reset that older bodies desperately need. But even strength is not enough. Because if your blood cannot move, your brain and muscles will never get what they need. And that is exactly what we will explore next. Number 5. Blood pumps in the legs. How horse stance improves circulation. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. You bend your knees, you hold still, you breathe. But after 20 seconds, you begin to feel something. A quiet pressure rising in your thighs, a heat behind the knees, a gentle pulsing that was not there before. This is not strain. This is circulation. And for millions of seniors with cold feet, foggy minds, or poor energy, this one daily habit may quietly restart what aging has slowed down. Doctors call it venous return. It is how blood travels back up from the legs against gravity toward the heart. In young people, the muscles in the legs squeeze that blood upward with every step. But in older adults, especially those who sit often or move stiffly, that pump becomes weak. Blood pools in the legs, Feet swell. The brain gets less oxygen. And suddenly, everything from memory to mood begins to slow down. But in 2018, researchers from a Japanese vascular health study uncovered something interesting. When older adults practice static squat-style postures, similar to the horse stance, their venous return significantly improved. Circulation increased. Blood pressure stabilized. And they reported less brain fog within just 2 weeks. Why? Because when you bend your knees slightly and hold, your thighs press gently on the deep veins. This pressure squeezes old stagnant blood upward like toothpaste from a tube. It is subtle, but it is powerful. Think of your thighs like a second heart. Not the organ in your chest, but a lower body pump that keeps everything moving. When this second heart is ignored, blood stays trapped. But when you activate it daily, through stillness and breath, you begin to notice changes. Clearer thoughts, warmer hands, even a soft glow returning to the skin. In rural Korea, elders often pause during long farm days to hold a similar pose. They are not exercising. They are preserving circulation, staying grounded, staying clear. No fancy steps, no jumping, just the body sinking low and pressing life back to the center. You can begin with 30 seconds, knees slightly bent, feet planted like stone. And as you hold, imagine your blood once sluggish now rising upward and clean. This is not imagination. This is biology, because when blood flows, the mind follows. And, sometimes, the slow brain is really just a slow leg. Most seniors never hear this. They are told to move more, walk more, push harder. But no one tells them about the still movements, the kind that heal from the inside out. Let your legs pump again. Let them do what they were built for. Because circulation is not just about comfort, it is about clarity. And clarity is something no pill can give, but even with circulation restored, one danger remains. It hides deep in the joints, and it can quietly take away mobility even when the muscles feel strong. In the next section, we will look at how the horse stance unlocks something even more vital than strength or blood flow. It helps repair your joints from the inside. Number 4, the hidden joint lubricator, how stillness heals knees and hips. It feels like your knees are the problem. They ache. They feel stiff. They struggle to bend or to bear weight. But the truth is, most knee pain does not begin in the joint itself. It begins in the space between motion and stillness. When you move too fast, cartilage wears down. When you sit too long, fluids stop flowing. But when you hold a precise, still position, like the horse stance, something remarkable happens inside the body. Deep within the knee joint is a substance called synovial fluid. It acts like oil for your cartilage. And like oil in a hinge, if it dries out or becomes uneven, the joint begins to grind. But here is what most people do not know. Stillness under light pressure triggers the body to send more of this fluid to the joint. It is like squeezing oil into a rusty hinge, slowly, gently restoring motion. In a Korean rehabilitation center, seniors with chronic knee pain were taught to hold a gentle squat, just like the horse stance, for 60 seconds a day. After 6 weeks, most reported less pain, greater range of motion, and a smoother walking experience. Why? Because the stance creates just enough compression in the joint capsule to signal lubrication, but not enough to cause damage. You are not forcing. You are inviting. Imagine this. You are standing tall, feet planted, knees softly bent, and behind you, an invisible bench made of bamboo. You are not sitting, but you are not fighting gravity either. You are suspending yourself, like a string holding you from above and roots pulling you from below. As you hold, your body listens. It sends warmth to the hips, oil to the knees, space to the lower back. This is not just stillness. It is communication between brain and bone, between gravity and growth. Most seniors are told to keep moving, to walk through the pain. But walking with dry joints is like scraping metal. You must first soften the system. You must first allow the joints to prepare for motion, and that preparation begins in stillness. Just 30 seconds a day, with your knees bent but never pushed, your spine tall but never rigid, your breath deep and steady. You may not feel a stretch, but inside your body, cartilage is being bathed, pressure is being balanced, and motion is being repaired. If you are finding this helpful, pause for a moment and like this video. It helps others discover this too. Someone you will never meet may feel less pain tomorrow because you clicked today. Stillness is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the body's quiet way of healing itself, without pills, without machines, without noise. But healing joints is only the beginning, because what comes next affects something even more precious: your mind, and how one simple pose may sharpen it in ways you never expected. Number 3, brain-boosting balance, horse stance, and cognitive function. It might sound unrelated. What do your legs have to do with your memory? Why would something like balance affect how your brain works? But what if I told you the strength and stillness in your lower body might be quietly protecting your mental clarity, your focus, even your memory? A recent study out of UCLA found something most doctors never mention. Researchers observed aging adults over several years and discovered a direct link between leg strength and brain size. Not just activity, not just steps taken, but strength in the thighs, hips, and stabilizer muscles. When the legs are weak, the brain shrinks faster. When the legs are strong, the brain stays sharper, longer. How is that possible? It comes down to balance and something called proprioception, the body's awareness of space and motion. When you hold the horse stance, you are not just training muscles, you are training your nervous system. You are sending small, constant messages to your cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordination and spatial memory. In Japan, elders still practice radiocalisthenics each morning. And one of the most important parts of the routine, holding balance poses, feet flat, knees soft, eyes closed. This is not for strength. It is for the brain, because balance is like a sixth sense. When it fades, the mind begins to fade with it. You lose confidence, you move less, and the brain begins to slow. But when you train balance, especially with still grounded postures, something different happens. The brain lights up. Tiny neural circuits that were asleep begin to wake again. Try this. Stand in horse stance. Close your eyes. Raise your hands slightly in front of you. You will feel it. The gentle wobble, the soft recalibration. This is not failure. This is growth. Your brain is adjusting, learning, firing. No pills can give this. No test can measure it fully. It is a quiet intelligence that the body builds through posture, and yet it is almost never prescribed, because balance is not flashy. It cannot be sold in a bottle. But for seniors, it may be one of the most powerful cognitive tools left untouched. A way to preserve sharpness, not by thinking harder, but by standing deeper. So start slow, just 30 seconds, eyes open at first, then gently closed. Each time you practice, you are not just stabilizing your legs, you are strengthening your mind, because the body and brain are not separate. They are reflections of each other, and when one loses balance, the other soon follows. But even your brain depends on something deeper still, a system most people never hear about. And without it, movement itself begins to fall apart. It is called fascia, and it may be the hidden thread that ties everything together. Number 2, fascia activation, the web that holds you together. The body feels disconnected. The shoulders ache. The hips tighten. The neck holds tension that never seems to go away. But what if I told you most people's pain is not in the muscles? It is in the fabric holding the muscle. It is called fascia, and it may be the most overlooked system in the entire body. Fascia is the web that holds everything together. It wraps around your muscles, your bones, even your nerves. It gives the body shape. It allows movement to flow from one part to another. But here is the problem. As we age, this web begins to tighten. When we sit too long, move too little, it stiffens. It folds, like a bedsheet crumpled in a corner. And when that happens, pain begins to appear. Not because the muscle is weak, but because the tissue surrounding it can no longer glide. Doctors rarely mention this. There is no scan for it. No simple prescription, but elders in Japan, especially in traditional martial arts, have known this for generations. They use slow, still postures to wake the fascia, to stretch it, to bring it back to life. And the horse stance is one of the most powerful ways to do this. In a European study on fascia elasticity, researchers found that isometric holds, postures that engage muscles without movement, helped improve myofascial hydration and reduce tissue stiffness in older adults. It does not take long. It does not require movement. You stand. You bend your knees slightly. You allow your pelvis to tuck just a little, like tucking your tailbone. You lift the back of your neck as if a string were gently pulling the top of your head upward. And then you hold. As you sink into the pose, something begins to shift. You may not feel a stretch, but inside your body the web starts to expand. Like pulling a bedsheet tight across your frame, not to strain, but to restore shape, to reawaken flow. Fascia connects everything. It explains why hip pain can cause shoulder tension, why knee stiffness leads to back discomfort, because in a web, when one thread pulls, the whole system moves. The horse stance brings awareness to this. It resets the structure. It tells the body, you are not falling apart. You are just tangled and you can untangle yourself. You do not need to move fast. You do not need to sweat. You just need to hold 1 minute a day. That is enough to send signals deep into the tissue, to soften the web, to reconnect the parts that have drifted apart over time. Most people chase strength, but what they really need is connection, and fascia, when activated, can give that back. It is one of the quietest forms of healing, but also one of the most lasting. And if you think that is powerful, just wait for the final reason to do this every day. Because what comes next is not just about strength, or movement, or pain relief. It is about the very cells inside your body, and how they may begin to rebuild themselves from the inside out. Number 1. Cellular rejuvenation, hormonal and bone density effects. You may think this habit is only for muscles, for balance, for movement, but what if I told you this quiet stance held just a few minutes a day might be speaking directly to your cells, not your skin, not your muscles, but the deep unseen layers that decide how fast or how slow you age? In 2021, a group of researchers in Taiwan conducted a study on seniors aged 60 and up. Each day, they were asked to hold the horse stance, a quiet, unmoving squat for just 3 minutes at a time. 6 weeks later, the results surprised even the doctors. Not only did participants report feeling stronger, their bone density had increased, and their cortisol levels, the body's main stress hormone, had dropped significantly. This was not from lifting weights, not from intense cardio, just from stillness. You see, when you sink into the horse stance, something subtle begins to happen inside the bones. The gentle downward pressure created by gravity, posture, and time stimulates the bones to grow stronger. It is the same principle seen in astronauts. When they lose gravity, their bones begin to weaken. But here on Earth, when you apply just the right pressure, not too much, not too little, you signal your bones to build. Think of your bones like bamboo, hollow but strong, flexible but sturdy. They grow tougher when they are stressed gently and consistently. And it is not just the bones that listen. Hormones do too. When you enter the horse stance, your breathing slows, your mind settles, and your parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and repair mode, switches on. Cortisol begins to fall. Inflammation lowers. Your entire internal chemistry starts to shift away from survival and toward repair. In Shaolin tradition, monks would hold the horse stance before every strength ritual, not as warm-up, but as preparation, because they understood something modern science is only beginning to confirm: that stillness is not rest. It is regeneration. Visualize this. You sink into the stance, feet wide, spine tall, pelvis tucked. Your breath moves slowly in and out. You are not fighting gravity. You are shaping your future. Because what begins as stillness becomes signal to the bones, to the hormones.
The very blueprint of your aging.
And yet almost no doctor recommends this. Not because it does not work, but because it cannot be sold. There is no monthly payment for gravity, no patent on posture, but those who practice this daily quietly rebuild themselves from the inside out. Without surgery, without noise, without strain. Just 3 minutes. Each day, to tell your body, you are still here. You still matter. and you still know how to grow. And now that you know, what will you do with this? Aging is not something to fear. It is something to understand. And those who understand it live differently. They move slower not because they are weak, but because they are listening to their joints, to their breath, to their bones. They no longer chase youth. They honor presence. They value control, not over time, but over how they meet each day. Most people are told that decline is inevitable, that aging means giving things up, that pain, stiffness, and forgetfulness are just part of the process. But now you know something different. You have seen what the research shows. You have seen how stillness, not intensity, sparks strength. Because the horse stance is not just an exercise. It is a quiet language, a code the body still remembers even if the world has forgotten. It speaks to the feet, to the blood, to the brain, to the tissues holding everything in place. It says, you are not done. You are not fragile. You are not finished. Every habit we shared today, from balance to fascia, from hormones to joints, is a form of reconnection. It is not about doing more. It is about doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way. These are not workouts. They are signals, quiet codes sent through the nervous system to say, I am still here. I still want to move with grace. I still want to think clearly. I still want to live strong. And strength at this stage of life looks different. It is not lifting heavy weights. It is not breaking a sweat in a crowded gym. It is being able to stand up without wobbling. It is getting out of bed without pain. It is picking up a grandchild with confidence. It is trusting your body again. That strength lives inside you, and it can return. Not through machines, not through surgery, not through struggle, but through stillness, through intention, and through a few quiet minutes each day where you listen more than you push. If you are someone who has been told you need to try harder, let this be your permission to do the opposite. Try softer. Stand longer. Breathe deeper. Because longevity is not a race. It is a rhythm, and those who follow it live better, not just longer. In Japan, these habits are not called exercise. They are called life. Movements that are woven into the day, not carved out of it. Practiced in slippers, on wood floors, with silence. That can be your path too.
Where you do not have to be loud to be powerful.
Where you do not have to move fast to move well. You have just seen 5 hidden reasons why one simple pose, the horse stance, can unlock years of strength, balance, and cellular health. So the only question left is this. Which one of these spoke to you most? Was it balance, circulation, joint healing, hormonal reset, or that deep feeling of, I still have control? Let us know in the comments below. We read every story you share. You are not just a viewer. You are part of this quiet community, searching for better answers, together. And if this resonated with you, gently tap that like button. Subscribe if you feel ready,